everybody, so I'm going to do a quick video for you today on being prepared for evacuating or emergency plans for your reptiles. Most of the country has some kind of natural disaster that does happen from time to time. Here in Southern California we have to deal with earthquakes as well as wildfires. I've had to evacuate from my own home a couple of times a few years ago when we had the crazy fires down here in Southern California, and I will tell you it pays off big time to be prepared and ready to go when it comes to evacuating. Or if you're in if you're on the East Coast and you have snows, you have blizzards, your power goes out, or if you just plain have to move cross country, it does help to have some kind of plan in place for in case anything goes wrong. That way you can get your animals, maybe not in the most ideal conditions for a long term, but something that will keep them alive until power does come back or until you get situated in a place where you can set them back up again. One of the best things for animals like snakes or even lizards is to get these shipping heat packs. Not only are these good for shipping, but think about it, this is a 40-hour heat pack. If you're evacuated or if you're moving or if you're out of power, this 40-hour heat pack is going to take you through almost 2 days of maybe not the most ideal temperatures, but it's going to keep your reptile warm enough to survive until, again, power comes back, until you get situated, until things are back to the way they should be. I keep 2 on hand for each one of my animals at home, just in case. Again, I've had to evacuate for fires before, and the last time that I had to evacuate, I was out of my house for over a week. So having at least 2 of them on hand, luckily for me it was at the end of summer, so it wasn't really that cold, so my animals were okay, but having, again, 2 on hand, that's 4 days easily of keeping them just warm enough to survive. And you should already have this, but in case you don't, each and every animal should have its own transportation or container. This is a snake bag. If you have snakes, you need one for at least one of you need at least one for every single one of your snakes. Even if you have bearded dragons, monitors, any kind of lizard, a bag like that is going to keep them contained and going to help be a nice soft way to contain them while conditions aren't exactly ideal. And it's going to basically be a bit nicer for them, a bit safer for them. It's going to help prevent nose rub, help prevent stress. If you just bag the larger lizards instead of putting them in a container, because again, basically it's just going to kind of help them sleep, relax, be calm. They're going to be in the bag, they're not going to be bashing their faces against the hard sides of the container. Once you do get situated, snakes you can keep in relatively small containers. Again, this isn't ideal and this isn't long term. This is your emergency plan. A corn snake like this or even a large ball python, you can kind of get them to fit in a container like this. And again, I'm emphasizing this is short term because it's an emergency. You can kind of set them up, they'll survive, they'll be okay for a few days in a relatively small enclosure. If it's too small for you to set up a proper water bowl as well as keep the snake happy and safe, I would recommend soaking them. When I had to evacuate with my animals, I kept them in containers like this. And fortunately for me, I was at a friend's house and I was able to soak each of my snakes every day just to give them the opportunity to drink because I wasn't able to evacuate with all of their water bowls. Which leads me to the next point. If you're situated and your enclosures allow it, or even just for a few minutes every day to put them in a slightly larger space, have disposable water dishes like these, or these are technically mealworm dishes. You can get the water bowl equivalent, but you can stack up to 50 of these in a space about this big, so you'll be set in case you need to get out in a hurry. You can just grab your sleeve of disposable water dishes and go and not have to worry about each and every one of your animals having a hard water bowl. Something like this you can just throw away when it's done, and it makes your life a whole lot easier. Lastly, for those of you that are on the East Coast and it's cold, there's going to be a blizzard, don't underestimate keeping your bagged animals in a styrofoam container. I see a lot of threads, especially in sometimes you guys are really worried about blizzards, things like that. Don't underestimate the usefulness of a styrofoam insulated shipping box. Basically, if you only have a few animals, there is no reason you can't bag up your bearded dragon in a snake bag, again, because that way it's not rubbing its nose, it's not freaking out, it's basically going to be nice and contained. Put it in the styrofoam box, put one of the shipping heat packs in there, and voila, you've got a little miniature bearded dragon sauna without the stress of it having to sit on your body, which, while that'll keep it alive, that's not ideal, and you're not going to be warm enough to really keep that animal at a functioning temperature for its body to really thrive. putting them in a styrofoam sealed box with a heat pack or two for 40 hours, those boxes with a heat pack in there can easily get 75 to 80 degrees, which is great. That's what you want. It's not the most ideal temperature range for long term, but it is going to keep your pets from freezing, and it is going to keep them doing all right until the power comes back on, until things are back the way they're supposed to be. If you have an animal like a crusty gecko that can take slightly cooler temperatures, you can even just put it in there and put the heat, just one heat pack in there, or just put the heat pack right on top of the styrofoam, cover it with a blanket. That'll heat it up a little bit, but not so much that the animal is actually cooking in there. Again, it is really, really important to always have an emergency plan in place. You know, you never know when things are going to go wrong, when you're going to have to get out of the house quickly, when the power's going to go out. There's just basically so much in this world that can go wrong. It does pay to have an emergency plan in place. Here at all the stores, there's a lot of animals to get out, but we even have kind of a rudimentary evacuation plan for getting things out quickly. And again, for me at home, having had to evacuate a couple times for brush fires in the area, it is much, much easier to just have everything ready to go. I was able to pack up all of my animals the last time in a solid 10 minutes. And I keep, as a lot of you know, I keep a lot of animals. For me to be able to pack at the time I think I had 40, all 40 of my individual animals in 10 minutes and be out the door, that's big. And that's gonna sometimes be life or death for some of the animals. So definitely make sure that you have a plan in place. You can pick up all of these items on our website. And it's better to do this now, have your emergency plan in place now, rather than wish you had it a month from now, a week from now, 6 months from now, 5 years from now. Just have something ready to go and in place. You'll thank me for it later, even if it is a bit of a hassle right this second. You can order everything you see here on our website at www.LLLReptile.com. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have tips of your own on how to create a good evacuation kit or a good emergency kit, please feel free to leave it in the comment section, both here on YouTube and on our Facebook page. Thanks, and we will see you soon.